Welcome viewers. This is lecture number 13 of lecture series on real analysis. In this lecture, we are going to discuss an important theorem of real analysis, that is Cauchy's first theorem only. Then we will discuss some examples related to Cauchy's first theorem. So, statement: let Xn converges to n and Kn be the sequence of arithmetic means, that is a defined by an is equal to x1 plus x2 plus xn divided by n, then an also converges to l. Is the converse to justify this? So let us quickly discuss how we can define convergence. Sequence, here I am considering a particular case when xn converges to 0. Xn converges to 0. Right? So when we say a sequence xn converges to 0, when for given epsilon greater than 0, there exists a positive integer m, that is m belongs to n, such that for all n greater than equal to m, mod of xn minus 0 is less than epsilon. Right? So, or we can say for all n greater than equal to m, mod xn is less than epsilon. So geometrically, what we can say that this is our sequence xn, this converges to 0. So we can take epsilon neighborhood around 0.0. So what happened? x1, some terms of the sequence x1, x2, x3, x4, x5, and so on up to xm minus 1. These all terms lies outside the interval, and after that xm, xm plus 1, xm plus 2, and all other terms lies in this interval. So basically what we want to show that we have no control on these m minus 1 terms. So our finitely many terms lies outside the interval. So we can say that we have no controls on these terms, these finite number of terms, finitely many terms. But all the terms greater than equal to m and greater than equal to m, our xn lies in this interval, right? Less than equal to epsilon. So, and we also know that every convergent sequence is bounded. So now, but we want to conclude that because we have no control on these finitely many terms, that is m minus 1 terms, so now we try to apply a hard condition on these number of terms. What is the hard condition? Because every convergent sequence is bounded, so boundedness is the hard condition for these number of terms. And because all other terms that lies in this interval, they are well behaved, or we can say these terms are well behaved. So we can apply a crude condition, crude estimate on these terms. That is, we apply convergence condition on these terms, right? So we divide because the concept for Cauchy's first theorem of limit is divide and conquer. So we divide the terms and then we find out the result. So how this is the this is an is x1 plus x2 plus xn divide by n. So we divide and conquer. We use the concept divide and conquer. So let us discuss the proof of the theorem. Let Tn is equal to xn minus L, or we can say xn equal to Tn plus L for all n in n. Limit n goes to infinity. Tn, that is limit n goes to infinity xn minus L. We apply limit on xn as well as on L by algebra on limits. So we can write limit n goes to infinity xn minus limit n goes to infinity L, because limit of constant is again constant, so we write L here. So this is L because this limit xn converges to L. So limit of n goes to infinity xn, that is equal to L. L minus L, this is equal to 0. So what we get, that Tn converges to 0 as n goes to infinity. Now since Tn sequence Tn converges to 0, and we know that every convergence sequence is bounded, therefore Tn is bounded. And what is the condition for Tn to be bounded? That there exists a positive integer, positive real number k greater than 0, such that for all n in n, such that mod of En is less than equal to k. So our Tn lies if k, it is k and minus k, and all our Tn lies between k and minus k, right? So all Tn lies here for all n in. Now, now An is x1 plus x2 plus x3 plus xn upon n. So what is our x1? Xn is Tn plus L. So what is x1? T1 plus L, x2, T2 plus L, and so on. So we put x1 as T1 plus L, x2, T2 plus L, x3, T3 plus L, and xn, En plus n divided by n. So we now we use the concept trick. I can say use a trick, divide and conquer. So we divide this by n. Now we play, right? So we separate t and terms of t and l. So l plus l n time it become n into l, divide by n, plus other term is t1 plus t2 plus t3 plus tn divide by n. So we get l plus t1 plus t2 plus t3 plus tn by n. So this is our aim. Let this be 1. Now we have to estimate T1 plus T2 plus T3 plus Tn by n. If this goes to 0 as n goes to infinity, then An goes to L as n goes to infinity. So the result is over. Right? So what we have to prove? We have to show that, to prove that T1 plus T2 plus Tn upon n, this goes to 0. Now to show that, or to prove that, if An approaches to L, it is sufficient to show that T1 plus T2 plus T3 plus Tn by n this approaches to, this goes to 0, right? So what we have to do, we have to apply the trick, divide and conquer. So we divide this because we have already divide it by n. So now we separate this into m and n terms, like that epsilon, or given epsilon greater than 0, given epsilon greater than 0, or let us apply, let us use the condition first. That is, we have given that Tn converges to 0, right? So we use this given epsilon greater than 0, there exists m1 belongs to n such that for all n greater than equal to m1, mod of Tn is less than epsilon by 2. How we can, because I can write here, since Tn converges to 0, it is given Tn converges to 0 as n goes to, it is given, right? So by definition of convergence, we can write given epsilon greater than 0, there exists m1 in n such that for all n greater than equal to n, mod of Tn is less than epsilon by 2. Let this be equation by 2. Now for n greater than equal to m1, for all n greater than equal to m1, we can divide, we can take the estimate of T1 plus T2 plus Tn by n. We have to show that this is less than epsilon. If this is less than epsilon, then we can find out that this sequence, this an converges, the estimation of this term, this converges to 0. So what we do, we divide it into T1 plus T2 plus Tm1 minus 1 plus Tm1 plus Tm1 plus 1 plus Tm1 plus 2 and so on up to Tn divided by n. Now, how many numbers are lies outside this interval? We have already discussed that finite m minus 1 number of terms lies outside the interval, and these are finitely many terms, finite number of terms, and we have no control on this term, on these numbers. So what we do, we try to put hard condition on this number. So if there is one more element added to this number, then it does not impact on its condition, right? So what we do, instead of taking m minus 1 term, we are here taking up to m1 term, because when we add or subtract some number, then it does not uh, effect on its convergence. So what we do, we add T1 plus T2 plus up to Tm1 plus, or we can write this is less than equal to, right? Because we divide it to two parts, T1 to Tm1 and Tm1 plus 1 to Tn. So we use triangular inequality here, divided by n plus em1 plus 1 plus em1 plus 2 plus en divided by, right? So because these all terms lies outside the interval, or we can take a quick example how we apply hard condition. Suppose करते हैं कि एक किसी एरिया में एक कोई सेलिब्रिटी है, उनका फंक्शन होने वाला है। तो जब वो सेलिब्रिटी उस एरिया में आएगा तो उसकी इंफॉर्मेशन एडवांस में उस लोकल एरिया की पुलिस को होगी। सो हो सकता है कि कुछ कुछ लोग जो भी सेलिब्रिटी वहाँ आ रहा है, लेट इट बी कोई बॉलीवुड पर्सनैलिटी है, तो वो एक्टर जब उस एरिया में आएगा तो हो सकता है कुछ उसके फेवर में हो और कुछ उसके अगेंस्ट हो, बिकॉज किसी को उसकी आइडियोलॉजी उसको पसंद है, किसी को हो सकता है उसकी पसंद ना हो। तो सम एलिमेंट्स आर देयर which create problem in the function. So what the local police do, he pick those, he try to pick those elements, or he has some information, उनको पुलिस को पता होता है कि कौन से ऐसे लोग हैं जो प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट कर सकते हैं। सो दे ट्राई टू पिक some person, let it be they are, because they are finite number, so let it be represented in red color. So वो क्या करेगी कि फंक्शन से पहले वो उन पर्सन्स को पिक करेगी कि कौन कौन से जो पर्सन है वो प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट कर सकते हैं, because they are finite in number. So we pick that persons, we pick those finite number of persons and apply some hard condition. और हो सकता है कुछ दिनों के लिए उनको कहीं वो बंद कर दे, किसी एक कमरे में बंद कर दें, किसी है ना, राइट इट बी, लेट इट बी कि वो किसी ऐसी जगह बंद कर दे कि या अपने अपने घरों में उनको कैद कर दे, राइट? सो you know about the condition that article 370 जब हटा था, तो what happened, some of the person are picked by the government and put into their home isolation, घरों में उनको बंद कर दिया था। so think about like, right? so उनके ऊपर हार्ड कंडीशन क्या लगा दी, हार्ड कंडीशन इज बॉन्डेडनेस, राइट? and because other person they are well behaved, so they apply some relax condition or crude estimate, that is convergence. so इनके ऊपर hard condition क्या है, that is boundedness. so what we do, we because we have no control on these elements, so we apply hard condition, and hard condition is boundedness. So and we know that we can write this as mod of t1 plus mod of t2 plus mod of tm, because by triangular property, mod of tm divided by n plus mod of tm1 plus 1, if it is tm1, right? tm1 plus 1 plus mod of tm1 plus 2 plus mod of tm divided by n. So we apply hard condition that is boundedness on this number. So this is less than equal to k, because mod of tn is less than equal to k for all n. So k mod of t2 is less than equal to k, mod of tm1 is less than equal to k. How many numbers? They are m1 numbers, m1 times, divide by n plus tm1. We can apply the convergence condition, and convergence condition is this is less than epsilon by 2 plus less than epsilon by 2 plus less than epsilon by 2. How many times? N minus m1 times. You can see here these are, because for all n greater than equal to m, tn mod tn is less than epsilon by 2. So we can apply, we can Tm1 plus 1, this is less than epsilon by 2, and so on. Right? So now k plus k up to m1 time, it becomes m1k. So we can write m1 upon n into k, right? Plus these are n minus m times. So you can write n minus m1 upon n into epsilon by 2. So this we can also write this as m by n time into k plus m1 plus 1 minus m1 upon n into epsilon by 2, and this is less than m1k by n plus epsilon by 2, because this is less than 1. So let this be equation number 3. Now what we have to do, if we estimate this m1k by n is less than epsilon by 2. So how we can prove this, that this is less than epsilon by 2, because as n goes to infinity, m1 k upon n, this goes to 0. It means this sequence is again convergent sequence. So now since m1n m1k over n, this converges to 0 as n goes to infinity. So by definition of convergence, given epsilon greater than 0, we have already picked epsilon, right? So there is no need to, because same epsilon work for this. There is this for all n greater than equal to m2. We can write there exists m2 belongs to n, such that for all n greater than equal to m2, such that mod of m1k by n is less than epsilon by 2. So this is by definition of convergence. Let this be equation number 4. Now because even m1k and n both are natural number, positive real numbers, so we can write for all n greater than equal to m2, we can write m1k by n, because there is no need to write modulus, because all are positive. This is less than n by 2 epsilon by 2. That is the equation number 4. Now using choose, because we have two positive integer m1 and m2, so we choose m, that is maximum of m1 comma m2. Now what happened, for give all epsilon for all n greater than equal to m, such that now mod of e1 plus e2 plus en divided by n is less than epsilon by 2 plus epsilon by 2, which is equal to. Now what we can say, this sequence, this implies that e1 plus e2 plus en by n, this converges to 0 as n goes to infinity. Now we use this in equation number 1, taking limit n goes to infinity. So from 1, limit n goes to infinity, an is equal to 1. Or we can say an also converges to the same limit as n goes to infinity. So this is the direct proof. If sequence xn converges to L, then its average an also converges to the same limit value. But converse need not be true. Converse need not be true. What is the converse? If our statement is, let S be the statement. If statement is if P then Q, then its converse is if Q then P. If Q then P. Right? So now what is the original statement? Statement in this theorem, if Xn converges to L, then An converges to L. Now what is the converse? What we have to do in converse part, if An converges to L, then Xn converges to L. Now we take that An converges to L, but we have to prove that because converse need not be true, so we have to show that Xn does not converges to L, right? So converse is not true. So let Xn is equal to minus 1 की power n for all n. So An is x1 plus x2 plus x3 plus xn by n, and this is equal to 0 if n is even, if n is even, and minus 1 by n if n is odd. How we can write this? What is our a1? A1 is x1 by 1. And what is x1? Because sequence xn is minus 1 to power n. So we can expand this as minus 1, then put 2, so it will become 1, 3, when we put 3, it becomes minus 1, 1, minus 1, 1, and so on. So this is our first term, this is our x1, this is x2, this is x3, this is x4, this is x5, this is x6. So these are, so in this way we can write. Now x1 is a1 is x1 upon 1, and what is x1? Minus 1 upon 1. When we put 3, a3, what we get? X1 plus x2, average of 3 terms. X1 plus x2 plus x3 by 3. So what we get? Minus 1 plus 1 minus 1 upon 3. That is 1 and minus 1 cancel out. So minus 1 upon 3. Now if we take a5, first average of first 5 terms, x1 plus x2 plus x3 plus x4 plus x5 5. So we get minus 1 plus 1 minus 1 plus 1 minus 1 upon 5. So 1 minus 1, 1 minus 1 cancel out. So we get minus 1 upon 5. So if a1 then minus 1 by 1, if a3 then minus 1 by 3, if a5 then minus 1 by 5. So what happened? If a2n plus 1, a2n plus 1, or we can say 2n minus 1, then we get again minus 1 upon 2n minus 1, right? And for even number a2 get x1 plus x2 by 2. That is -1 plus 1 by 2. This is 0. A4 x1 plus x2 plus x3 plus x4 by 4. Again we get -1 plus 1 -1 plus 1, so 0. So in this way we can generalize that a to n this is equal to 0 for all n, for all n in n. So here for all n in n. Now what happened for odd number we get -1 by 2n minus 1, and for even number we get a to n is 0. In general, if n is odd, right? If n is odd, we get -1 upon n if n is odd. Because 2n minus 1 is an odd number, so we can write it as for an equal to -1 by n if and an is equal to 0 if n is even. Instead of taking 2n minus 1 and 2n, we can write also write like this. So, and we know that an converges to 0 as n goes to infinity, because -1 by n goes to 0, and here because it is a constant and constant sequence converges to constant number, an also goes to 0. So overall odd and even numbers goes to 0, then overall we can say an average goes to 0 as n goes to infinity, and goes to infinity. So our converse part, this part is converges to 0, but we have to show that xn also converges to 0. But xn is equal to -1 की power n, it does not converges, does not converges, because it has two limit points. What are those limit points? 1 and -1. And we know that if sequence converges, then it converges to a unique limit. So xn does not converges. So the converse of this theorem need not be. Okay. Now let us discuss one example related to Cauchy's first theorem. So that limit n goes to infinity 1 upon n, 1 plus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 3 plus so on 1 by n is equal to 0. How we can apply this? Let xn is equal to 1 by n, and limit n goes to infinity xn, that is limit n goes to infinity 1 by n, and this is equal to 0, right? So xn goes to 0. Now we have given that, we have proved that xn goes to 0. Now what we have to prove? By Cauchy's theorem. Cauchy's theorem say that if sequence goes to 0, then its average also goes to 0. So now by Cauchy's theorem, by Cauchy's first theorem, Cauchy's first theorem on limit an, limit n goes to infinity an, that is limit n goes to infinity x1 plus x2 plus xn by n, this also 0. Now put the value of x1. X1 is limit n goes to infinity. We can take 1 by n common. X1 is 1. We can put x1, x2, x3 here. X2 is 1 by 2. X3 is 1 by 3. Xn is 1 by n. So this is equal to 0. So this we have. So hence we can show that limit of this is equal to 0. Show that limit n goes to infinity, 1 upon under root n square plus 1 plus 1 upon under root n square plus 2 plus 1 upon under root n square plus n equal to 1. Let xk equal to n upon under root n square plus k. Here k is equal to 1, 2, up to so on. So limit n goes to infinity. What is limit xn? Limit of xn. You can take k equal to n, then it becomes xn. N upon limit n goes to infinity. N upon under root n square plus n. This is equal to limit n goes to infinity. N upon, you can take n square common from under root, it come outside n, then it becomes 1 plus 1 upon n. This n and n cancel, so we can put limit and put 1 plus 0, so it becomes 1. Now we have to show that limit xn converges to 1 as n goes to infinity. Now what we have to by Cauchy theorem, what we can say that its average also goes to 1. Now the Cauchy theorem by Cauchy's first theorem on limit n goes to infinity, an, that is limit n goes to infinity, x1 plus x2 plus xn by n, this is also equal to 1, right? So this implies that limit n goes to infinity. What is x1? You can put k equal to 1. We get n upon n square plus 1 plus n upon n square plus 2 plus n upon under root n square plus n whole divided by n. This is equal to 1. Now we can take n common and divide it by n, so we get, this implies that limit n goes to infinity, 1 upon n square plus 1 plus so on, 1 upon root n square plus k, this is equal to, because n and n cancel out. So in this way we can prove that by Cauchy first theorem, apply the Cauchy first theorem and show that this limit of given sequence is equal to 1. Let us discuss uh, one more example. This example is related to Squeeze principle. Prove that prove that n raised to power alpha e raised to power n beta, where beta is greater than 0, is a null sequence. We have to show that this sequence converges to 0. So let xn is equal to n raised to power alpha e raised to power n beta, right? So choose m in natural number n can be any positive integer, and such that m is greater than alpha plus 1. So we choose m such that m is greater than alpha plus 1. Now e raised to power n beta, we know that e raised to power x. What is e raised to power x? It is 1 plus x square by 2 factorial plus x cube by 3 factorial plus so on, right? So in this way, e raised to power n beta, you can write 1 plus n beta plus n beta का whole square by 2 factorial plus e raised to power plus n beta raised to power n upon m factorial. M lies somewhere in this because m is a positive integer. So we can write this as greater than n beta raised to power m upon m factorial. All the sum of the term is greater than this. And because m is greater than alpha plus 1, so this is greater than n raised to power n into beta. So n into beta raised to power alpha plus 1 because m is greater than upon m factorial. Now we have e raised to power n beta is greater than n raised to power alpha plus 1 into beta raised to power alpha plus 1 upon m factorial. If we take the reciprocal, then what happens? E raised to power n beta inequality is reverse. It becomes m factorial divided by n raised to power alpha plus 1 into beta raised to power alpha plus 1. So because e raised to power x is always greater than 0, so this sequence is greater than 0. This term is always bigger than 0. So now we can use Sandwich theorem or squeeze principle. Because this goes to 0, now we have to show that if xn is less than equal to an is less than equal to yn, if x and yn goes to L, then the middle sequence is also converges to the same limit. So if the left limit this converges to 0, now limit n goes to infinity, m factorial upon n raised to power alpha plus 1 beta raised to alpha plus 1. Because oh yes, one thing is missing, because our xn is, what is our xn? Xn is n raised to power alpha upon, so we multiplied this by n raised to power alpha. First we multiplied this by n raised to power alpha. n raised to alpha upon, because it's a positive integer, a positive number, so there is no change in the inequality, because we have to make it xn. So this is when we multiply it by n raised to power alpha, so it becomes m factorial upon beta raised to alpha plus 1 into 1 upon n, because n raised to power alpha and n raised to power alpha cancel out, so we get only 1 upon n. Now if we take the limit m factorial upon beta raised to power alpha plus 1 into 1 by n. When n goes to infinity, this goes to 0. Now what is this? This sequence is basically, this is our 0 less than, this is our xn, and this is m factorial upon beta raised to power alpha plus 1 into n, right? So this goes to 0, this constant of 0, this limit goes to 0. So what can we say about this xn? This xn also goes to 0. Therefore this implies by Hughes principle limits limit n goes to infinity, xn equal to 0. Thus, the given sequence is a null sequence. Next example, prove that limit n goes to infinity, 1 upon n square plus 1 upon n plus 1 ka square plus so on 1 upon n plus n, or we can write 2n ka whole square. 1 ka square, this is equal to 0. You can use the same concept in this, that is Hughes principle, because it is a null sequence. We have to prove that the convergence is 0. The limit of this is 0 means it converges to 0. So that is the given sequence is a null sequence. How we can approach this? Because n square is less than equal to n plus a ka whole square, which is less than equal to n plus n ka whole square for all k equal to 0, 1, 2 up to n, because we know that n is less than equal to n plus 1, which is less than equal to n plus 2. So if we take the square, then n square is less than equal to n plus 1 ka whole square less than equal to n plus 2 ka whole square, and so on. In general, we can say this, right? So n square is less than equal to n plus a ka square whole square is less than equal to 2n ka square. So we can write 4n square, or let it be 2n ka whole square. Write it 2n whole square. So taking the reciprocal, what we get? 1 upon n square is greater than equal to 1 upon n plus a ka whole square is greater than equal to 1 upon 2n ka whole square, or 1 upon 2n ka whole square is less than equal to 1 upon n plus a whole square is less than equal to 1 by n square. Now, when we take the summation both side, summation k equal to summation all side k equal to 0 to n 1 by 2n 2n का whole square, which is less than equal to summation k equal to 0 to n 1 by n plus k का whole square, which is less than equal to summation k equal to 0 to n 1 by n square. Then what is this sum? This sum become, because if k is 0 to n, so it is n plus 1 by 2n का whole square, so less than equal to, this is nothing but center term will become xn, right? Because we have taken, if we take this all term as xn, so the sum will be, this become xn, and this is less than equal to this again n plus 1 over n square. Now apply skews principle. Take the limit of both these, and you know that this converges to 0 because denominator, degree of denominator is greater than degree of denominator. So both converges to 0. What can we say about by skews principle? This also converges to 0. So we can say limit n goes to infinity, xn is equal to 0, and you can put the value of xn. So in this way you can prove that by using the skews principle and Cauchy first theorem on limit, we can prove examples. You can try other examples related to Cauchy first theorem and skews principle. Thank you. Have a nice day.